Hello, this is Tom, aka Gedeon, here for Star Frontiers Gamer and Fanzine Friday. We are doing Frontier Explorer number 18. This is from the fall of 2016, and we have this gorgeous cover here of the Sathar fleet that has just destroyed this space station behind them, and they're just sailing on to the next objective. I just love this image. And you would think from this image that you're going to get an issue themed around the Sathar, and you are not. It's actually starships. In fact, the quote on the cover is spaceship, spaceship, spaceship. And that, some of you might recognize, is a quote from Benny in the Lego Movie, which is a sign that this is a very highbrow literature magazine or that we don't take ourselves very seriously. You decide. Our first entry is the small party ships of science fiction. This, this was a top 10 list. I was actually, I limited myself to only ships that would serve a small RPG party. And that meant I was excluding fighters, I was excluding big ships, and I was excluding shuttles, even though some ships made it on this list that really kind of qualify as shuttles. But, and I was also scraping the bottom of the barrel because I was having a tough time coming up with a solid 10 ships for this list, and I included the Osprey, which was not in TV and movies. So this was a fun list. You can check that out for yourself. And the first ship in our list, the first deck plan in our themed issue, is the TSC Magdalena SC-101 Courier by Richard Shadowshack Rose. I love this ship. I first time I looked at it, I was like, I love this ship. It's a small hull size 2 courier, crew of 4. It looks like it evokes the Millennium Falcon. You look at that and you get the evocation of the Millennium Falcon, but it doesn't really look like the Millennium Falcon, but it really somehow captures the look and feel. I love the wings on here. They tell you this thing lands atmospherically. I just love that. You get the full deck plan. The more I look at this deck plan, the more I feel like it has the internal feel of the Millennium Falcon. And right up here on the bridge deck, you get this, the 3 command seats that are tilted 90 degrees. So you climb into them and sit into them with your back to the floor. That is straight out of the Eleanor Mores, from Mutiny on the Eleanor Mores module. So that's very canon. It's something that Richard has included in a lot of his deck plans. And so it's always an interesting feature to me. And it works because this is a ship that's landing horizontally. So, and then if you notice here, these are the cargo holds on either side of the ship. And when it lands, these doors open to the bottom of the ship. So you load it. You come in with a forklift type loader, raise things in and move them into the ship. And I just love this design. It's a clean, sharp, fast little ship. Not as fast as an assault scout, but it does work as a courier. And it only needs a crew of 4. Next up is Posita and Nagato Gypsy Moons. And this is based off of these planetoids and their races were inspired by the Rocky Jones Space Ranger series, Gypsy Moons and Rocky's Odyssey and Crash of Moons, and a dash of the Star Trek episode, Let That Be Their Last Battlefield. Now, to be honest, I have not read this very closely. Last time I read it, I think I read it to edit it back in 2016. And the problem is that Let That Be Their Last Battlefield is like my least favorite Star Trek episode ever. You know, the guys with the one half the face white, one half black, and then the other guy is one half black, one half white, the other direction, and they're totally prejudiced against each other. And I just felt that Star Trek was being a little bit too preachy on race relations, and they could have been smarter about it. It just, that whole half black, half white on the face. I never liked it. I just felt like they could have better writing. They could have done something better. It's not against them doing something on race relations. It's just let that one fell flat for me. So I have a built-in prejudice against this, but this is written by Laura Mama, and she is a longtime contributor, and all her stuff is great. So, I can't really give a good recommendation on this because I don't know the material, and I have a built-in prejudice against it that just kind of, But again, she does background and adventure seeds basically here. So, there's material here for you to use for, if you're looking for inspiration for an adventure. Next up is the Atlantic class freighter. Now, this is a redux of the deck plan of the Gullwing from Dramune Run. And back in 2016, there were only so many modules out there. You had to score one on eBay if you didn't have it, or you had to find one of the bootleg PDFs out there, So it was not something that was necessarily available. So I was completely on about we need to put this in the magazine. So I was really happy when Richard submitted this. Nice redux of the Gullwing. Deck plans redrawn by him. Somebody did a CGI image of the ship. But that was 2016. And in 2018, when you had the Evil Hat trademark grab, Wizards of the Coast put all of the old content up as reprints, print on demand on one bookshelf on drive-through. So you can actually get a copy of Dramune Run. If you go to eBay, be very careful because people are getting the print on demand reprints and then selling them as if they are $30, $40. This is rare Star Frontiers. So you have to be careful with eBay these days because people are doing that. You need to be a little skeptical, carefully examine the photos before you buy, an actual what you think is an older module, an original. So this is less critical that this is in the magazine. It's still here. You can use it. It's a great write-up. I'm sure Richard's done his usual bang up job of detailing every single thing he can. And I always like his work, but it's less critical. You can get the Gullwing deck plan by getting a reprint off of drive-through. Somebody did up a fake ad for the magazine. I love this on the Ristocoms. And then next up, we have Philosophies of the Frontier, using the Varda and Star Frontiers. From the moment I saw it in theaters, I always loved Battle Beyond the Stars. And what I did was I took every statement within the movie concerning the Varda, and I cataloged these all so that you could use this as a philosophy. You don't have to call it the Varda, you can call it something else. Use this as a philosophy for your character. Sometimes it's hard to come up with one. And I just thought this would be a good one. And so I've cataloged all the statements into the rules of the Varda, the teaching of the Varda, the wisdom of the Varda is these were little proverbs, like Shad at one point says, swift rain is little rain. It didn't fit like a teaching or rules. It was just more of a proverb. So you can't do any discussion of Battle Beyond the Stars and philosophy without discussing St. Exmund's Creed. In the movie, she says, I am from a warrior race. We exist for battle. Our creed is to live fast, fight well, and have a beautiful ending. And good God, is that not Yazarian? I mean, that screams Yazarian to me. And so I just love that creed. It's like something I can't believe I've not grabbed that and used that with a Yazarian character in Star Frontiers in the past. But it absolutely screams Yazarian. Did a little discussion of Space Cowboy. Such an original name. I mean, at the very least, just call him Tex. His ship. His ship is an excellent match for the Nighthawk small freighter. I mean, perfect match. And the belt buckle, the bartender belt buckle. I love that. I created it as an actual device, no longer being made. So it's kind of a collector's item. You got to try to find it and haggle for it. But I created that and put it in the Star Frontier setting. And then Last but not least, this matte painting that was in the movie of the Akiran village. It's only briefly on screen, but it's a gorgeous matte painting. And when I look at that, it says to me, draw the site architecture. I just love it for that. So, Change in Orbit by Shane Winter. Now, this article includes some math. And math is not my strong suit, but what Shane is doing here is he is taking what information we do have about these planets and extrapolating more information. So we have the gravity in the day. He starts extrapolating some radius, mass, density, geosynchronous orbits, and he's doing some work on what the orbits would be and how fast the ship would be moving in that orbit. It's a little extra level of realism. Normally in a Nighthawks game, ship in orbit just moves the equivalent of 1 hex per turn. So this is just a little bit more grainy, and I like what he did here. I mean, I like all this extra information that he's done for us in this table. But then you get into this where he's done these little maps showing you the orbit, and so here you'll see that the ship will move 1 hex every 6 turns in this one orbit. That's kind of interesting. I like this. You know, you can default to the Nighthawks of just move 1 hex around the planet for Nighthawks battle on the tabletop. But I do like this little extra level, and so this is nice. But this takes up a lot of the magazine, so it's just one map after another showing all the different planets, and takes you to page 31, and then we get Titan Rising, the cartoon. And here we get first of our ships from Martin Derry Berry. This is the Atlas Manufacturing Corporation Comet. And so another complete deck plan. And then we have Bandoliers from Bandits. This is in the Minzy Marketplace, where I do a little bit of fiction to introduce new equipment and then give you some. It's basically usually a 1-page article. And because it was doing the Yazarian disc grenade bandoliers, we resurrected that piece of equipment from an early Star Frontiersman, and I did all the other types of grenades as disc grenades for that, and did a whole table for you here. And then here's the second ship from Martin, the New Era Commercial Survey Module, CSM GPS, complete write-up and deck plan. And then I love this article, the miniature Loso Dragon. Eric Windsor created the Losen Dragon a while back, and we had that right up in the magazine, and he did a miniature version, you know, like a miniature poodle. But this here is, you know, like an adventure pet. This could be, you know, you could have one of these miniature Losen dragons riding on your shoulder, like a, you know, pirate has a parrot on his shoulder. So I just thought this was cool. You know, I love this this paragraph heading here: how to train your Loso dragon, and stats, and then alternate movement rules for Nighthawks. This is written by Tom Stevens, our resident rocket scientist. Tom, if you don't know this, was a consultant with NASA way back when I first met him. And so this is an alternate movement system, and he's the guy I go to for you know, double check my math and I'm not messing up too badly here, please. And then Grimm's Guide, Lesson 18 Visitors. You can read that for yourself. So this is Tom with Tabletop Taproom, just a whole magazine dedicated to starships. A great cover. I absolutely love that cover. One of my favorites. And I want to thank you for watching the video. Thanks to my subscribers. You guys are great. And if you've not subscribed, please do hit the like, subscribe, and bell icon and help me build the channel. But until then, I will see you in the frontier.